Welcome. Welcome.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Welcome to episode 1 of It's Not That Deep, a vaguely tattoo related podcast. Vaguely. I am your host, which sounds very proper. I am your host, Kirsty Mick, a tattooist, tattoo artist, tattooer, whatever you want to call me. And my co-host.
I am Sam Wickens. I'm a musician, and as of lately, I am a videographer. I am a graphic designer. I am a editor, an animator.
You're everything.
A joiner, an electrician, a set designer.
Yeah.
A painter.
Yeah.
An upholsterer.
An animator.
Yes, I said that. That was included.
Did you?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of the animation.
At the start of this, if you're watching it or listening to it, but if you're watching it, then you would see the little animation that Sam made at the start, and it's my favorite thing. It's so good.
It wasn't that fun while I was doing it. It was a lot of
learning.
A lot of learning.
Yeah. So basically, I haven't really contributed much so far. Oh, I need to get used to having a mic. I just bopped it there.
It's a new skill.
Yeah.
It's a new skill.
A skill that you're used to, obviously, from
Yes.
being a musician. But yeah, I haven't added much to this other than coming to you and saying that I want to do a podcast.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be fun. And now it's my role to actually do something and talk and give my expertise. And I did come up with the name.
Yes, you did, and it's a great name.
I was so proud of it. It's not that deep, obviously relating to tattooing and depth, but also maybe trying to take things a little bit less seriously, which I tend to do quite a lot. I'm quite an intense person, and I do take things, as I said earlier on, I am a slave to my own emotions.
Yeah.
And I do take things a little bit seriously.
And we're trying to crack that entire thing. We're trying to get you to lighten up, to be a silly goose.
Do you know my attempt at being a silly goose? I don't know if you noticed when I came in here earlier on, I tried to find some fun, silly socks. I don't know if you can see them.
Okay.
The only silly
For
socks.
anyone that isn't watching the video, they have pigs on them and a bow tie and glasses.
That's me being a silly goose.
Okay.
Your
Lovely.
mother bought me these.
What a woman. What a woman.
What a woman. And that's me trying to lighten up a little bit. Now, I'm not going to be amazing at lightening up straight away because I still have show notes in my lap because this is the first time I'm ever doing a podcast. It's not a skill that you just automatically are good at. So I do have notes about how we're going to
I always love the saying, you have to be shit if you're going to get better.
Exactly. And do you know what that's really relevant to? Tattooing.
Exactly.
Oh my God, if I could show you some of the tattoos I did back when I was just starting and I was an apprentice. You have to be shit to get better. And the shitter you are at the start, the better the glow up.
Exactly.
So you want to start
down at the bottom. That's why you always push your stomach out in the before photos.
Yes. Yeah. Like
scraggle your hair.
Yeah.
You hunch over.
Yeah, you wear trousers or leggings that are too tight.
Spit in their tattoo. That's what you do. Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, in the before photos. But a part of this podcast is that it's not that deep.
Yeah.
It's getting you to lighten up. It's also got the tattoo influence of it.
Yes, because I do have some expertise in the area.
Yeah.
I've been around a while.
And we're trying to bring it to a point where it's not hardcore education.
No, can I just say that right off the bat? It is not an education of tattooing. No. I'm not going to try and teach you how to do tattoos and all the nitty gritty bits of it. Like, it's just a bit of silly goose, bit of fun. We're going to read some stories.
Reddit is going to be our treasure trove of this podcast because the tattoos and Reddit have this weird relationship.
Yeah.
There's the amazing tattoos on Reddit, fantastic tattoos on Reddit, but then also the worst of the worst and the worst stories you could possibly
and
ever
hopefully,
read.
If I have any relevant stories without outing anybody, because, client confidentiality.
But if any clients want to send stuff in, would we be able to?
Or artists, if tattoo artists want to send anything in, any stories.
One thing we can both mutually agree on, this is not a podcast to kind of out anyone, or we're
No.
not going to be firing shots at people. We're not into that.
No.
We're into the silly goose,
Yeah.
into the world of tattoos that to me is quite new.
Yeah.
I don't know a thing about the technical side of it.
No, we'll
Am I
not talk too
interested?
much about the technical
Yeah.
side.
I'm not that interested. I
If it
think
comes
it's
up.
great. Yes, I think
Yeah.
it's great, but the actual culture, the subculture in the world has
Yeah.
been something. I remember going to my first tattoo convention.
Yeah.
It was
It's wild,
horrible.
isn't it? Oh, different. Yeah, I remember going to my first one as
It was
well,
it
and
was
it's
just so
intense.
much. It was
It
so
is.
much.
I think what's really funny is there's a lot of stimulus at a
Yeah.
convention, and it's almost something that you have to kind of like get used to. It's kind of like TK Maxx.
It is.
If you walk into TK Maxx, the lights are
Or a Primark.
bright, or Primark or whatever. There's so much going on. There's so much to look at, and sometimes you just want to leave. But if you kind of get used to conventions, they are the best place ever. I do love a convention. Every time I do one, I'm like, I'm never doing that again. But every time
It's
I'm
a bit
doing it, I
easier.
love it.
It's a bit easier now because I would know a few people and I can say hello.
Yes.
But it's very intimidating.
Yeah.
And obviously, without knowing tattoo artists,
Yeah.
I would always have this kind of they are way above. They're like so cool. They can tattoo people, you
Yeah.
know, and they don't want to talk to me. Or I always had this thing that tattoo artists look down on people that have tattoos. I don't know why. I
Really?
don't know why. I always thought people
No.
would be looking at me, and instead of being like,
Do you know
that
what?
guy has tattoos, they would
Yeah.
think, them tattoos are terrible.
Well, I mean, sometimes you do see people's tattoos and you're like, where did you get that done? But no, I would say that most tattooists are incredibly socially anxious. And so
Mhm.
if you have a tattoo, they're like, oh my God, immediately topic to talk about. And it kind of breaks that barrier. You can always talk to a tattooist about tattoos. Now, there's a difference between going up to them in a bar and being like, I've always wanted this sleeve. And how much would you
Which
charge
you
for this?
get
Oh, I get
all
it
the
all the
time.
time. There's times where you'll maybe be at like a social gathering or something and you'll not say to people that you're a tattooist because it's just sometimes it's a bit intense. I think in a situation where there's maybe like alcohol involved and people just want to talk to you about this tattoo that they're never going to get, but they're just like, I'll message you later on tonight and I'll book it. And I'm like, I'm never going to hear from that person
I've
again.
had that with music,
Yeah.
and that's why I would very rarely say, do you
Yeah.
know, it can be, oh, it's my cousin's ex-wife's neighbor's birthday next week. Can you play at it?
Yeah.
Or sing us a song.
Sing us a song would be
I
horrific.
hate that. And I'm like, no, I couldn't think of anything worse.
No.
So I understand not saying. Now, we were in Marksy's last night, and
Oh, yeah.
a lovely guy came up at the till.
Yeah.
And I was wearing a cap of a fight promotion, and it kind of sparked conversation.
Yeah,
And then
Sam
next,
works on fight promotions, so just in
yes.
case that's not already known.
I also do work with fight promotions.
He
I
does
do
everything,
branding
honestly.
and videography.
Yeah.
And I was wearing a hat and started talking. And the next minute he goes, I love your tattoos as well.
And then
Who does them?
No, it was that I instinctively just went, thank you. And then had to explain, I'm saying thank you because I did them, not just like randomly didn't know
On
what
his
to say.
behalf, thank you very much.
Yes.
You know. But it does spark a conversation.
It
And that's
does.
why we want to do the podcast, because
Yeah.
there is a lot of conversations that
There
are
is.
fun to have.
Yeah, and I always say to my clients, like when I am actually tattooing them, like I do tend to go quite quiet because I cannot multitask. And I talk with my hands, as you can see, and it makes me stop tattooing. But I do have a lot to say. I have a lot of opinions. I'll try not to make them super intense opinions, but I do have a lot to say about tattooing. Was that a nice drink? Was it?
That was lovely.
Was that great? What have you
I
got
don't-
in there?
This is Rio Punch
Lovely.
by Monster.
Monster.
Monster. Monster. Which is just it's my new favourite.
Yeah.
And it's in our lovely sippy cups.
Yeah. Hold on.
We have matching sippy cups to match the branding. That's how good of a wee designer I am.
I just have water because if I have any more Red Bull, I will be vibrating off this chair.
I can see you. If
Can
anyone
you?
isn't watching the video, all they're going to hear is, I have water. But I can actually see the shakes in real time. This is great. You're going to have a tremolo effect on your microphone.
I'm just wired because of the Red Bull and the Pro Plus. So, not to get into it now, but obviously we are both sober. So
Yes.
taking a Pro Plus for me is like, it's so much.
Yeah.
It's wild.
And that actually, a harsh segue,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
one thing I love, by the way,
Mhm.
is instead of doing a segue, you announce the segue.
Sometimes that's nice. Yeah.
I love doing that because it's like
Especially
I'm
if you're
just
not used to it.
and I'm just pretty much making a point. I could have segued,
Mhm.
but it was going to be so just flawless.
Mhm.
I'm announcing it.
Yeah.
So harsh segue into
Yeah.
you saying about being sober and
Mhm.
pro plus.
Yep.
Okay, tattooists.
Yeah.
Everyone, I just said it. I think they're really cool, and oh, I don't want to talk to them. They're going to think
Yeah.
I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
You're
No.
shaking because you drank a Red Bull and took a Pro Plus to film a podcast.
Yep.
I think that's just crashed or cracked the glass ceiling of how cool tattooists
We're not
are.
cool. Oh my god, we're not cool. If you're a cool tattooist, good on you. But oh, absolutely not. I don't know a single one that is cool.
They're cool in their own way, but not in the way that is kind of fantasized about.
No, I think there's this like idea that tattooists are like rock stars, which I hate. But when I was young, I used to think that, like, oh, they're into this, like, it's very similar to music in the way that you would think that musicians are very like chill and like just having a good time and going to like after parties after the gig and da 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 da.
Mhm.
And there is definitely an element of that within tattooing, maybe when you first get into it, because you think you kind of have to like prove a point and be like, I'm really cool. And I definitely have tried to peacock and have that big ego and I'm not shy about that. But no, definitely not. Tattooists, I think, are the coolest people because they do tattoos, but they're such losers.
But in the best way.
In the coolest way. Like
I
we
love
just love what we do.
at the
Yeah.
conventions talking to people, and
Oh, we're
whenever they
nerds. We're
exactly.
tattoo nerds. Well, most people I would say are tattoo nerds. We just love it.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
so friendly to talk to. They
Yeah.
they aren't just gonna crash you down,
Mhm.
and it's refreshing, I think is the best word for it. It is refreshing
Mhm.
whenever a tattoo artist is nice, and it's also
Yeah.
I know what it's like as a musician,
Yeah.
whenever you talk to another musician and you're like, "Oh, flip, what if they're" they think ill of me or they don't have the
Mhm.
time of day, and then you realize, no, they're actually just a really dead on person. They just love music.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. So tattooists, they are seen as very cool. Now, it is a cool job.
It is. Yeah, just because
It's a
it's
very cool job.
creative and I think just the permanency of it and the kind of like art side of it, it's really cool. I think to have such a permanent thing on your body takes a lot of like decisiveness and like I know who I am, I know what I like, I know what I want. I'm going to put it on my body and let people know that
Unless
unless
you have one tattoo of each trend, which again, I
like
think
me, honestly, like me.
it's like collecting infinity stones. Like if you have like a 90s tribal
Yeah.
and then I don't know, is like Asian writing still was that a trend?
It
I know
definitely was more of like a like the Asian characters. That was more like 2000s and stuff, but there
yeah,
was like, the Tweety Birds and the Tasmanian Devils and the
yes.
Tribal, and then it kind of moved towards that like do you remember like the Dreamcatchers
Oh yeah.
and
The feather.
the Feather? We do love these are still relevant. If you like these and you're getting these tattooed, then that's absolutely fine.
I know that the creme de la creme, the
Mm.
stopwatch,
Ooh, the pocket watch, not a stopwatch. The pocket watch.
it's the same.
Now, again, if you have a pocket watch, I'm not trying to throw any
Oh,
shade on
there's no
you.
judgment.
No.
There's no judgment.
There's just
I've got
there was trends that kind of came and went.
I have patchwork.
Yes, which is very
Patch
in at the moment.
but it's also very divisive. There's a lot of people
Mhm.
that love patchwork, and then there's people that see
Mhm.
it as the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
But I also think even in patchwork,
Mhm.
there's like subgenres of it. Because
Oh
I've
yeah,
seen there's
definitely.
people that have like doodle based patchwork, which
Love.
I think is cool.
Yeah.
There's also people that have almost like color. Everything's color. It's all different little
Yeah.
pops of color here and there.
Yeah.
My patchwork is just instead of having bigger pieces,
Mhm.
I have a lot of smaller pieces, but they all do share a similar feel. They're quite
Yeah.
gothic in a way, some of them.
They're very illustrative and they're very like they don't have any particular
There's a
meaning.
lot of symbolism,
Yeah,
and that's
symbolism
something I
definitely.
love is
Yeah.
symbolism. So a lot of them have symbols.
That's like quite a hot topic in tattoos. And for people making decisions about getting tattoos, do they need to have a meaning or not? I think no. I have a lot of tattoos that have very deep meanings. Some of them are silly meanings and some of them have no meaning. So I think each to their own, but a lot of yours just don't have meaning?
N A lot do,
Yeah, a lot
and a
do.
lot and a lot well, all my writing has
Mhm.
meaning. So
Yeah.
before we met each other, I only had writing
Yes.
on me,
Yeah, yeah.
and then we started bringing in the imagery.
Mhm.
Uh, while they don't individually have meaning, I think just the kind of blanket coverage of symbols
Yeah.
has added meaning to it because it's very similar
Mhm.
feel. It's all kind of dark and gloomy
Yeah.
and symbolism and stuff where it almost it's the imagery to go with
Mhm.
the writing.
Yeah.
But if somebody gets a tattoo on them and their reasoning
Mhm.
to have it is simply because they like it,
I mean, look at my upper arm. Can
do
you
it.
see it?
Yeah, what's the meaning behind that swirl?
I this meaning was that I got a cover up of a cover up of a cover up. And now it's just basically black. And then it moves up into just wiggly, squiggly ink spill,
Marbling.
marbling, whatever you want to call it. Um, and there's no meaning to it behind it.
No.
No, but
It,
then my other arm has a lot of meaning. My hand, my giant X, is very meaningful because it's about sobriety. So it kind of depends on each individual person, but I think that for people's first tattoos, I keep touching the mic. I am so
I
sorry.
think that there's a difference between touching the mic and giving it the
Mm.
old 1, 2,
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom.
Again, first podcast. If you're just listening and you hear little thuds, that is me hitting the mic because I'm not used to it. What was
Yeah.
I saying? I've completely lost
You were
track.
talking about on your left arm, it does have meaning. You were touching base on the X, which stands for
Yes,
straight edge.
it does. And I was saying about people's first tattoos, they
Yes.
feel like they need to have a meaning. And I get that. My first tattoo was a yin and yang on the top of my back. And it was just because that meant a lot to me at the time. I was 16, which is not legal. And you were 14 when you got your first tattoo, which was not legal. Um,
But it was fun, and that's what I care about. Within
yeah.
within reason. I won't always put fun over legalities,
No, but
but
when you're
as
young,
a
what
14-year-old,
what age did you get your neck tattooed?
there
Yeah.
on the right side of my neck, the bigger one, I
Mhm.
think I was 16 or 17, and the
Yeah.
reason why the tattooist done it was
Mhm.
because I think it's hilarious. I went into him, must have been about 16.
Mhm.
I, uh I had 3 tattoos. I had one on my wrist and then my 2 inner forearms,
Yes, I'm writing.
and I wanted my outer forearms done.
Mhm.
And his thing was, "Well, you've already got your inner forearms,
Mhm.
so it's not like I'm doing anything bad."
Yeah.
Great, great thing. So he done
Mhm.
the 2 outer forearms.
Okay.
Then I went back to him and I said, "I want my chest done."
Yeah.
And it was almost like he didn't know me.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, you've got your outer forearms done. Why wouldn't I do your chest?" I was like,
Yeah.
"Great.
Mhm.
I'm completely underage."
Mhm.
And then I went back to him for my neck, and he goes, "I normally wouldn't do somebody's neck, especially if they're young,
Yeah.
but you've already got your full chest
So
done,
why not?
so why not?"
Let's do such a visible tattoo on
And
a 16 or 17-year-old.
yeah,
Yeah, that's wild.
so I was just bailing about 16, 17 with a full neck tattoo.
Yeah.
And then the other part of my neck, which was the smaller one, I got done as a legal man,
Yeah.
which was grand.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so, like, your first tattoos should have a meaning, I think. They don't have to, I suppose.
They don't need to have a deep
No,
meaning,
no, 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 just something that you'll look at and be like, "That was my first tattoo, and I'm glad that I kinda
even if it's
got
like
that."
two friends going to get their first tattoo together. Even that's a meaning.
Yeah, I love a matching tattoo. Do you like a matching tattoo?
We have matching
We do have
tattoos.
matching
Even though
tattoos.
before we got them, I was completely against them.
Yeah, some people say it is, the kiss of death in a relationship.
Oh,
I don't think we explained that we are in a relationship, but we are.
yes.
If you didn't know who we were, yeah, we are in a relationship, and we did get matching tattoos.
But only recently
Only
after
recently,
we
5 years.
yes, we're engaged to be
Yes,
married.
to be
So
married.
so I think it's
It's
okay for
fine.
us to get
But you don't
matching
have any other
tattoos.
matching tattoos, no?
No.
No. I do, but they're maybe not so positive stories. But I love a matching tattoo. And
Yeah.
I have done some recently, and they can be really fun and silly goose. I just love them.
Yeah.
They're good.
And
So
that's what
yes.
this podcast is gonna be all about, things like that.
Yeah.
Matching
Stories.
tattoos. Should you get this? Should you not? And by the way, anything that we say, oh, you should or you shouldn't, it's not.
No,
rules or regulations.
absolutely not.
From you, it's got a bit more of a weight because you're involved in the tattoo industry.
Yeah.
You're an established tattoo artist.
Yeah, but I'm not saying anything here that I wouldn't say to a client.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
but
If a client came to me, I would say the same thing.
I have absolutely
No.
no stance.
Do you feel like since being with a tattooist, you've learned a lot more about what being a tattooist means or what they do when they're not just sitting down tattooing you? Do you see more of the
Yes,
industry?
yes, and
Like you spoke about
no.
conventions, that's
Yeah,
like you were on my side of the booth, so the tattooist side of the booth, and you maybe seen it from a different kind of place.
yeah.
So what do you think about have you learned anything,
I've learned that there's
surprising
a lot
things?
more work goes into it than I thought. So I thought,
I wasn't
and
trying to push him to say that, but there is quite a lot
so
of work.
obviously, whenever I went to get tattoos, whenever I was underage, I was just rocking up and kind
Yeah.
of being like, "This is what I want," and then they would draw it
And probably when
right
you
there
were
and
getting
then.
them done, that would have been the way tattooing was, but it's progressed so
Yeah.
much in such a short space of
So
time.
you would be doing consultations
Mhm.
from your phone.
Yep.
You would then be drawing designs at
Mhm.
home.
Yeah.
Then you're sending those designs to the clients for like an
Mhm.
approval, and then you're finalizing those designs.
Yeah. Now, can I interject that because there'll be people listening, maybe tattooists or clients or whatever, the way that I send out designs beforehand is not a normal thing for
Okay.
tattooists to do.
Okay.
I would like to explain why I do it. It's because I can't handle rejection.
Okay.
So I
But
send
we
out
know
my
that.
yeah, we know that. I send out my designs beforehand because if someone comes back to me and says that, "Oh, I hate that. You're the worst drawer in the world," at least I can cry in my own privacy and they don't see the rejection and the sadness in my eyes. So I send it beforehand. So most
But
tattoos will just show it on the day,
realistically,
which is normal.
if you drew it and they didn't like it,
And I cry.
it's not that deep. Pardon the pun, but
Yeah.
that's why the podcast is called that. It's not
'Cause
that deep.
I need to chill out and stop
Yes.
taking tattooing not taking tattooing less seriously, everything around tattooing. So when I'm in the mode, I'm locked in, I'm tattooing, that is serious. That's my me time. That is me to kinda think things through and it's like meditation. I'm having a great time there. That can stay as serious as it is.
Yeah.
Everything outside of that, maybe I can
Well,
chill out about.
on that note, before you start kicking it up the 10th gear,
Mm.
we'll
Do I
simmer
do that?
down. Hmm?
Do I do that sometimes?
Oh, I'm not saying anything, my dear. Okay. I've got a story,
Ooh, okay.
right? So I'm going to put on the story reading glasses whenever I turn into a nerd
Again, for the audio listeners, Sam is wearing some very spicy glasses.
with my wee,
With his wee granny string
I don't know
to
what you
keep them on
call
so
it.
he doesn't lose
I
them.
lose them.
Oh, bless him.
Okay.
What have we got?
So today,
Uh-huh.
this is whenever also people get to hear my narrator voice.
It's like honey and whiskey.
I hope. I hope.
We'll see.
So this is a story off Reddit
Oh.
we've got today.
Mhm.
Specifically the subreddit of Am I the A-hole? I don't like swearing on mediums like this. I think
You've
it's
already
quite
sworn. Do you not know that?
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
Don't
he
worry.
definitely
Don't worry.
has.
So this is off the Am I the A-hole subreddit.
Asshole.
And this is the title. You ready for this?
Yes, I'm ready. I'm listening. Let me get into my tattooist zone.
Okay. Am I the a-hole for asking my tattoo artist to lower my price for my tattoo after she constantly got up to go to the bathroom?
Okay.
So, just straight off the title, I
Uh-huh.
just want a short snip from a tattoo artist without any more detail. So far, is it okay to ask, can you lower the price because you went to the bathroom?
I think it's wild to ask.
Okay.
But it's also wild for the tattooists to not acknowledge that that's maybe not okay. If they're charging for time that they're not tattooing, I would say
Okay.
that's a bit of a wild choice. But to say something, fair enough. Okay.
Okay, so
Go
shall we
on.
delve into it a bit deeper?
Yes, you tell me more.
Okay, so my tattoo artist charges $125 an hour. My tattoo was done by the hour, and in the end, I was there for a little over 2 hours. So, in the end, before tip, my tattoo was $270.
Okay.
I wouldn't have had an.
Americans getting tips. How fun. We
Yeah,
don't get that
it's
here.
mad that even they're talking about a bad experience and they're still talking about tipping.
That's wild.
So, I wouldn't have had an issue with this, but my tattoo artist had gotten up 7 times to use the bathroom and was gone for at least 5 minutes each time and left her timer going.
Dear lover, she obviously had wee tummy
She had a wee
issues.
timer, like the chess matches.
That's mad. Okay.
Yeah. So
I've not
that's
seen that.
seven times 5 minutes. What's that? 7 times 5. Quick maths.
35. Oh my
Okay.
God. I've never done maths that quick in my
So
life.
35 minutes.
35 minutes. And if they're 125 an hour, that's money.
Yeah.
That's like over 60
So
quid.
I
65?
asked if there was any way I could get the time. She was in the bathroom, taken off, and she made a face. And then she kindly said no.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't argue, so I just paid for my tattoo, but I left a lower tip than usual.
Okay.
She
Wow.
emailed me this morning and asked me not to book with her anymore because she said I disrespected her and her work. I'm upset because she does amazing work, but I don't feel that I was in the wrong. If
Mm-hmm.
she had gotten up once or twice, I wouldn't have cared.
Okay. Okay. So straight off the bat, if it was me, okay, so if for some reason if I had a timer. Now I only charge for the time that I am tattooing. So I
Okay.
do try and keep a track of it, and I try to take out any breaks, any toilet breaks or any, like, if they just needed a stretch or food or lunch or whatever, I do try and take that off. But obviously this artist has not thought about that.
Okay.
Um I don't to say something is in your right,
Hmm.
but I feel like it should have been more up to the artist. And I feel like maybe the artist was embarrassed that someone said something to them. I think that's how I would feel if I did something that my client wasn't happy about and they said something to me. I think it would be embarrassment. And do you know how people just get very defensive
Oh, yeah.
when they're embarrassed? And maybe they were like, I don't want that person back in again because I'm so embarrassed. And
Well, there
they
could have been
thought to
anything.
message them.
They could have had an upset stomach. They could have.
I would definitely tell my client that, though, if that was the case. If I was like,
Oh, yeah. You would just say it.
yeah. Like there's been times, not like me having an upset tummy, more about like, say if I had like a cold or something
Okay.
and I'm sitting sniffing away, which is awful whenever you're a tattooist, to not be able to wipe your nose because obviously you've got gloves on when you're
Yeah.
tattooing. You can't do anything. And if
You're going to have to do the upper arm.
you can't though, because then what if you have like
Well,
a
it's
weird
just
remark?
gross.
It's
It's
gross.
just gross.
It's gross. So you do have to just take off your gloves and blow your nose and then put them back on. And that, even for me, that little 30 seconds of doing that, I feel so bad because it's starting and stopping, starting and stopping. So
And they had
it's
35 minutes.
35 minutes. That's
I think if you're going to have a timer and you're saying time is that strict,
yeah, and you're charging
and
through
then,
time.
but you're not that strict about turning it off when you're going to the toilet. Because, right,
Seems like,
what about if
was it
she
on
was going,
purpose?
was she going for a smoke break? Was she just
Again,
going to have a wee
yeah.
breather and just, oh, I'm having a tough day? You don't
Sometimes.
know.
Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it's the skin's difficult and you just need to take a wee minute to yourself and give yourself a pep talk.
And if it was in any way, stomach related, even if it was just, I've been drinking a lot of water,
Yeah.
maybe she would have said that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the defensiveness is almost, as you
To
said,
ask not to come
embarrassed.
back, that's wild. I feel like if there was maybe more going on, or it is just a one-sided story, I suppose. But,
Has there
I'm
been a
being
day?
devil's advocate.
Has there been a day when you're tattooing and you've went to the toilet 7 times?
No. No. Not even in like a 5-hour tattoo. No.
So that's a lot in 2 hours.
That's what something is
So
incorrect.
that's two
The person
hours,
is
right?
unwell.
They went to the toilet 7 times for 5 minutes each.
We're
That's
trying to
30,
do the maths. That's basically
35. A
once every
quarter.
15 minutes.
That's also a quarter of a 2 hour tattoo. They were in the toilet.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, you would need to take that off, especially if there's a little bit of fluff.
Did you
Is
see
there?
that?
Yeah, I did see that. That was
It was
lovely.
like the Karate Kid.
I think so. Tattooists charge differently for tattoos. Everybody's
Yeah.
different, but a lot of people. This is my tattooist insight.
Lovely. Give us
A
it.
little bit of experience. So tattooists charge differently. Some tattooists will charge per piece, and that means that they don't have to worry about time. They can take as long as they like, and they can, take as many breaks as they like because they've charged or they've quoted 200 quid. So that tattoo is £200 no matter how long it takes.
Yeah.
That's not how I do things. I do go by time. This is just because it gives me a little bit more kind of leeway on, sometimes if the client's skin is a little bit more difficult, that's
Mhm.
obviously upping the kind of difficulty of it. If a client doesn't sit so good or they need to take a lot of breaks, that's obviously not up to the artist.
Yeah.
So I kind of go for time. It also helps me be like, it's this much for this amount of time. But to do that, I need to make sure that I am not charging them for anything that I do outside of tattooing.
Yeah.
So I don't, charge for, if I need to take a little break or there's a stretch or a toilet break, any of that, like I don't charge for that. It is simply when the needle is in your skin, that is what I'm charging for.
Yeah.
This person has obviously gone for that kind of approach where they're charging per time. So you need to be switched on about time, and they have a timer for it.
Yeah.
But I remember someone said to me, what stops an artist from just taking longer on a tattoo because they're charging by time? And I was like, well, that would be very unethical, wouldn't it? You couldn't do that. And in my head, me being naive, being like, someone wouldn't do that. You wouldn't just quote like, oh, this tattoo is 100 an hour, and then a tattoo that could only take 2 hours. They're like, I could make this take 3 hours and then I could get 300 out of it. You can't do that. That's not fair. You have
No,
to
it's
do it
not.
not fast, but not like taking the piss. Do you know what I mean?
Well, she literally was, or I don't know if it was a
Possibly.
she or a he, but the
Whatever.
tattoo artist was. And
Mhm.
speaking of time,
Mhm.
we're actually about to run out of time
All right. Oh, it's
on our
like
first
a
episode.
therapy session. We're done now.
Yes, I think
How
the
do you think
time.
this went
I think it's went beautifully.
for a first podcast episode?
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I'd-
We will learn and we will develop and we will get better and better.
And we will listen and not judge, isn't that what they're saying nowadays?
We will listen and we do not judge.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
that could be the way that people listen to this, they listen and they do not judge.
Yeah.
Perfect. So will we do a little social plug?
Yes. Do
I
you want
wrote
to take
them
it away?
down.
Yes, have you wrote them down? Look at that.
Kind of.
Kind of.
Kind of. So we're on Instagram.
We are on Instagram, yes.
It's not that podcast because it's not that date was taken.
Yeah.
It's not that podcast. YouTube, which obviously if you're watching this, you'll be maybe watching it on YouTube.
And we'll have all of our social links in the description.
Yes.
So you can
it's
just click.
Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, TikTok.
Yes, we have a TikTok.
We'll do little clips and stuff.
Yes, we will.
Is not me.
I'll be chopping them up, editing them up.
Yeah, let Sam know what you think of what good job he's done.
Yes, please do.
Yeah,
please do.
And let me know how how we've done.
And definitely
be kind, please.
If you're on Spotify, follow or subscribe to the podcast. I don't really know what way it works on there. On YouTube,
give your feedback about
subscribe
it.
and leave
comments,
a comment.
Please.
Yeah.
Be nice about it.
It gives us a little bit of feedback to learn moving forward and to just make us feel good.
Yeah.
Which I think is a nice thing to do.
I'm really excited. I love talking about tattoos. It really is the love of my life other than you.
Okay. That's great.
And I want to talk about it.
Yeah. And we'll be doing one every week.
Every week, yeah. And we'll have different stories and different little tidbits. And like we said earlier, if anybody wants to tell us their tattoo stories or tell us things about their tattoos or experiences, or tattooists want to say any of their little stories or whatever.
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I know a few tattooists.
Yeah.
Just a few.
But thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. It means so much for you
It
to
does
listen
mean
to
so
us.
much, but it's really not that deep.
It's not that deep, I know.
Yeah.
Hopefully next time I won't be as wired.
Yeah, maybe a green tea.
Green tea.
Or a peppermint tea might
a wee chill out.
A wee balance.
But yeah, I think we've done good.
Yeah.
Okay. Will we say bye? Have a little sign off?
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And remember, it's not that deep.
It's not. It's really not.
Bye.